probably have some issues with the audio because of the wind, but I am going to attempt to do something that I wanted to do for a while. We're at a spot that has some river floodwater in it pretty regularly, and as such it's introduced a lot of river species. And I'm going to try to catch a fish on a piece of paracord. There is literally no hook in this lure. It is a knotted piece of paracord which I have frayed out into strands. One of the things that gar have, a very, very bony mouth. And they can be pretty aggressive and they're jumpy when you hook them. They're a lot of fun, but it's hard to get a hook in them. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to get their teeth tangled up in this stranded paracord and see if we can't catch a fish on literally no hook. We have gar in a number of the rivers. They're native. They are an old species that's been around a long time. They get a lot of credit for stuff they don't deserve, which is they get blamed for ruining lakes and causing a lot of trouble. And in reality, the gar aren't typically the cause of the trouble that people perceive.
Is there water shooting out from the other river? Ooh, ooh.
Lakes that used to be good, and then you got maybe some flooding, you got some biomass in a lake, the gar got in there, and now all of a sudden you're not catching the more desirable species, and so it's the gar's fault. But there's a number of species that come in during a flood event that can be problematic, especially for water quality and biomass, biodiversity. When you have fish that occur in big numbers, like gizzard shad, they can be particularly problematic. When you have fish that root on the bottom, be it buffalo, which are native, or
you touched him. You're on? Oh.
Carp, which are invasive. They root in the bottom, they stir up the water column, they create water clarity issues, which reduces vegetation. Gar, in general, are not out there mowing down all of your adult largemouth bass, or even to a great degree the young of the year largemouth bass. They'll feed, I mean, they're opportunists, they'll feed on whatever they can get a hold of. But the quantity of gar in a body of water and the amount that they eat is not going to be hugely impactful on the population of a desirable species. And even an adult gar is not particularly big around. They can't chew their food. They have teeth, but they're capturing teeth. They're not cutting teeth. They're not biting pieces off of a fish to eat them. So if you have a gar this big around and you've got a largemouth that's that big around or bigger, which is, you know, most of the catchable size you want, they can't even eat them. They can't get them down. So they're not even going to try. They're not taking a crack at those fish. I mean, they might snap at them to run them off, but they are not trying to eat that because it won't fit in them.
Yes, yes, yes. Does he have it? Careful, careful, careful. Oh.
When we did this, by getting the fly near them, really surprisingly, we were able to get them to take a crack at our lures, to run that in front of them, getting them to bite it. What we did have is difficulty getting them to be tangled up in it. We'd get them for a second and then their teeth would pull through.
Cast. Come on, baby. Stir up. Stir up the storm. Stir up the storm. Eat it. Coming back, and
oh, that's cheating.
Your goal was to catch one on the fly rod, and guess what? You just done did it.
Well, I'm gonna let this guy go, but I'm gonna put him in the river.
See ya.
That was not what I intended. He got tangled in my line. I did get one fish a little tangled in the leader and was able to get that fish in, which in the video I say doesn't count, and maybe it doesn't. Again, proof of concept. You can catch a fish on no hook, which was neat.
Get him.
That worked.
That's the biggest one of the day. On your hair, let's get a close-up. See how he's tangled in this. That's exactly what you wanted. That's your thumbnail.
That's how it's supposed to work. I don't know that I'm getting my fly back.
Hey, hard work pays off. We drove a long ways to get to this point. 40 minutes to spot A and another 40 minutes to spot B.
They got a sharp bone there, but they do. Got him.
Is he going to the river?
A fun exercise. Definitely need to do a little bit of work on my flies.
Eat it. It's on his nose. It's in his mouth. Turn him. I think he's staying on. He sees it. Hit it, bro. Come on, slam it. It's above your head. Ooh. He's charged. Why do they do that?
He doesn't think it's food. A little stuck. I've already made a couple of variations on it. Was supposed to go out today and test them. Situations occurred and we weren't able to get that done today, but we'll get out, we'll get that footage for you, and we'll show you that in a future episode of Seven Fish.
I think he's tangled.
I'm all in this stuff though.
Oh, he got it good. Kind of. Ugh. Perfect cast.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Careful. Careful.
Oh no. At least.
Bingo.
One's way in the corner.
Mm-hmm. I can do this close one. He's coming. He's on. Ooh, there's a nice one right there. Get him in.
Oh no. Thanks for joining us today.
He wants it. He's coming for it. And off. Perfect. Turned. On it. Oh, you have him hooked really good.
Oh no.
Never mind.